Hey y'all, so as you can see, I've included my face into our model video today. We are using the quadratic formula again. There's slight changes on how the problems might be presented to you, but you might already know how to solve this problem based on your previous knowledge and your previous notes. So if you do, pause this video, fast forward it, get to the end, figure out that you did know how to solve this problem and understand it, and move on. If not, stay with me and I'm going to model this problem again for you, giving you some check for understanding to understand how you are to solve this problem. If you hear dogs barking, it's because I'm working from home. Cheese, great. So this problem says determine the number of solutions of the equation. Solutions meaning what is the value of x or m or p or k to make this a true statement when the equation equals 0, meaning when the y value equals 0. So they gave us 11m squared plus 4m minus 52 equals 10m squared minus 7. I cannot automatically use the quadratic formula because it's not set equal to 0. So that is my first step, is solving for 0. So we're going to do that, okay? So I'm going to rewrite my problem. 11m squared plus 4m minus 52 equals 10m squared minus 7, okay? Now, we know to solve a problem, we use our magical wall in order to solve this problem. So I'm going to be using different colors. Y'all know how I am, so just go with me, okay? So we're going to draw our wall in order to make sure that we keep both sides even. So I'm going to draw my wall, okay? Now, it's easier if you try to get this side to equal 0. Again, you can go with every side that you would like. Just make sure that you're able to read it correctly. So we do the inverse when we're solving to move to one side. We have 10m squared, and we need to get to the opposite side. So the opposite of positive 10m is to subtract 10m squared. Okay? Boom. I'm going to draw my line to show that I'm about to do a math operation. So we are subtracting 10m squared minus from 11m squared, and that equals, should we type in your calculator, 1m squared. You do not have to write the 1 if you know that it's implied. Then we're going to bring down our other terms, plus 4m minus 52. And what's left on the other side is negative 7. We brought negative 7 down, and we canceled out those terms because they are the opposite of one another. Then we're going to keep going. We still have negative 7. Our equation does not equal 0. It has to equal 0 because that is when we have our x-intercepts, when y equals 0. So we are going to do the inverse here as well. The opposite of negative 7 is positive 7, so we're going to add 7. We add 7 to both sides. We draw our line to show that we're about to do math. We did not touch these terms, so we bring them down. 1m squared plus 4m. And then we do our math here. Calculator, negative 52 plus 7. Oh, that equals negative 45. And yes, I put that in blue. We're going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Equals, this side now eliminates, and it equals 0. So now we have our final equation that we can use in order to solve for the actual solutions. And that is 1m squared plus 4m minus 45 equals 0. Okay? Now that we have these values, we can then determine how many solutions, not exactly what the solutions are, but how many solutions there are. And how can we determine that? Using our handy dandy friend called discriminant. The discriminant determines how many solutions our quadratic equation has. Basically telling us when we have a graph, how many times does my graph cross the x-axis? Does it cross it twice? Does it cross it one time? Or does it never cross it at all? Okay? That is what our discriminant is determining for us. So we're going to do that right now. We need 3 numbers in order to help us determine the discriminant. Okay? So if we know what our quadratic formula is, let's just write that real quick. Quadratic formula, and where do we get the discriminant from? X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And I'm going to hit y'all with a Blue's Clues. Which one is the discriminant? Where's that Dora? Point to it. Bink, bink, bink. Our discriminant is underneath our square root. So we are going to be working with this part first to determine how many solutions we'll actually be solving for when we use the quadratic formula, okay? So now, where do I get these numbers to plug in b squared minus 4ac? Well, we go to our original problem. If it's in the format of ax squared plus bx plus c equals f of x, the quadratic equation, then we already know what our a, our b, and our c are. So if I look at my problem, I have x squared plus bx plus c. Okay, now of course they're not going to be x's, they're not always going to be positive, but those are still the representation that we're going to be using. So I see that my a value is going to be 1, my b value is 4, and my c value is negative 45. Okay, a lot of us mess that up when you don't take the sign with the value. Okay, so now that we have those values, I'm going to solve for the discriminant. This part is about to speed up, so you should be solving it for yourself, and you should be getting to the answer. Here is a shameless plug. If you have not downloaded the calculator that is in the Google Classroom underneath tools, do that now, okay? Because the internet's not always going to help you, and your brain might always help you, but you can always get a calculator. And back here. So I already have been using my calculator, and my answer ends up being, yep, you're right, 196. 196. That is my discriminant. Okay? So what does that discriminant mean? It tells me how many solutions I have. Well, if my discriminant is positive, it's greater than 0, I have 2 solutions. If it is equal to 0, I have 1 solution. If it is less than 0, meaning a negative number, I have no solutions. So how many solutions are we going to be solving for if our answer is 196? 2. There are 2 solutions to this problem. That means when we graph it, it's going to cross the x-axis twice, okay? So I'm going to take some time to erase this board, and then we're going to finish solving for those solutions. You just like y'all Lysoling down everything, it's time Lysoling down this coronavirus. It's real. Stop. Just kidding. Drop everyone. Okay, so we now know that our discriminant equals 196. That tells us that we're going to have 2 solutions. Meaning it's going to cross my x-axis twice. 1 time, 2 times. Those, they might not be both negative. They might both be positive. One might be positive, one might be negative, one might be a fraction, one might be a square root. But we know it crosses twice, okay? That's important. We need to know that. Now we're going to figure out what are those actual 2 values. We need to use our handy dandy friend again, quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over or divided by 2a. Whatever works for you, okay? Well, we already have like a really, really big chunk of this problem. And I'm going to write that key again. My a value, my b value, and my c value. My a value was what number? I think 1. Our b value was 4. And our c value was negative 45. I'm just trying to see if y'all keeping up because it's a video. You can pause it at any time. So now we're going to plug those values in for the quadratic formula. Yes, it says x, but we had our variable m. Variables just represent numbers, so please don't be like, Nick, but you're using x. I love you. M. So I'm going to put m equals negative b plus. So negative b, remember that negative is implied in the problem. Do not take it away. I'm going to put my place value for what b is, plus or minus the square root. We don't have to do b squared minus 4ac because we determined it already in our discriminant. So we just had to put that value in there. And that's 196. I'm going to already can go in there. And then we divide by 2a. A is 1. B is 4. Okay? Y'all with me? If you're not with me, pause, rewind, bring it back. Keep solving. You probably already finished this. You are probably already at the finish line. Good. It's a review. So m equals -4 now, because that 4 now turns negative. -4, plus or minus. We take the square root, okay? It could be a perfect square, and if it wasn't a perfect square, we would take out the perfect square and then continue. But for this one, I gave you the answer. Now, I really could find my Charlie right now, but he's hidden on the floor somewhere next to my dog. So I'm going to get Charlie and act like I'm doing the square root of 196. I know my perfect squares. My perfect squares just happen to be, boop, there's Charlie. He came back to me. 14. And I'm using that blue so you can understand that's where I got that number from, right? And then I'm going to divide it by 2a. 2 times 1, 2. 2. Cool. But remember that plus or minus sign came because we were taking the square root. So when we're taking the square root, we get a positive and a negative answer. So we have to... At this part of the video, I want you to be solving the problem with me, making sure that you are understanding how we got those two solutions, and then following the questions that come below. You take this equation, these values, plug it back into our original equation, they should equal 0. You know you got the correct answer. But remember, our solutions are synonymous to the words x-intercepts. So they're letting us know that these values that they actually crossed at were 5 and -9. Okay? Let me show you my board. Hopefully this video helped you all. Miss you all. Really wish this was in front of class. Hope you've had a great Mother's Day weekend. Quarantine ain't making you go crazy, but if it is, it's all good. Love y'all. Almost done with 8th grade. You're about to be in 9th grade / 10th grade math. Let's go, period. Ms. Meekins out.